The Gulf of Mexico is a vast oil-rich basin in the Atlantic Ocean that produces over a quarter of America's ever-increasing need for fuel. 40 miles off the coast of Louisiana is the site of semi-submersible oil rig Deepwater Horizon. Shortly after 10 p.m. on the 20th of April, disaster struck the Deepwater Horizon when it suffered a massive blowout, unleashing an oil spill which is now one of the worst ecological disasters the world has ever seen. It has put millions of people and wildlife living along vast parts of America's coastline in jeopardy, costing BP billions of pounds to fix. From the moment the rig blew up, the scramble to save the lives of its workers, and the desperate attempts to salvage the rig and avoid the cataclysmic damage that followed.
A well-known Texas attorney and 6 others appeared in court today after being indicted on federal charges alleging their involvement in filing BP oil spill claims.
Federal prosecutors and members of the Secret Service held a press conference in downtown Gulfport today.
Well-known Texas lawyer Michael Watts made a name for himself taking on corporate giant BP Oil, reportedly representing more than 40,000 people and their claims in the wake and aftermath of the disastrous BP oil spill back in 2010.
I'm Michael Watts. I was born and raised in Corpus Christi. I lived in San Antonio with my wife, Tammy, of 14 years. The best thing that ever happened to me. We have 3 wonderful kids.
On this day, the courtroom roles were swapped as Watts made his way to the federal courthouse in Gulfport for an initial appearance after being indicted on a slew of federal charges alleging he and 6 others submitted false BP claims to the tune of $2.3 billion in all from the oil giant.
Soon after the oil spill, attorney Michael Watts received $10 million from 2 attorneys in Texas who wanted to buy a piece of his seafood docket.
Prosecutors say false claims were filed on behalf of people from 4 Gulf states, including Mississippi, alleging that in some cases the claimants were deceased.
Defendant Watts falsely claimed that each of these 41 victims was a deckhand on a commercial fishing vessel. In fact, none of the 41 persons worked on a commercial fishing vessel or even in the seafood industry at the time of the Deepwater Horizon oil spill.
This is what I've never seen in my legal career of nearly 15 years. I was a nurse before, so I'm not, I'm all about integrity and trying to be honest with the public. But this is what this says on here. On or about January 16th, 2013, defendant Michael C. Watts submitted or caused to be submitted a presentment form to British Petroleum, that's BP, it's not blood pressure, that's British Petroleum, claimed cost and damages in the amount of $45,930 in the name of Lucy Liu. And I said, oh, that name sounds familiar. And it says, and claiming Lucy Liu was a deckhand on a commercial seafood vessel. The government says Lucy Liu was a dog.
We managed to catch up with Watts' lawyer, Robert McDuff, after the hearing. Here's what he had to say.
We've read the indictment. Michael Watts and all the defendants have pled not guilty. I think once we have a trial and all the evidence will come out, it will be clear that Michael and everyone in his office did not do the things of which they're accused, and we're looking forward to a trial.
We tried to catch up with Watts and his brother, who was also indicted and were among those who appeared in court on charges today, but they declined to comment.
Oil online court records show prosecutors dropped 22 counts of fraud before jury selection began Monday in Gulfport in the case involving litigation from the 2010 spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Prosecutors contend that attorney Michael Watts of San Antonio, 2 non-attorney members of his law firm, and 4 contract field workers invented victims or used real people's names without permission to land Watts a spot on the lucrative BP litigation steering committee and inflate legal fees he might collect. Watts has pleaded not guilty along with the others. U.S. District Judge Louis Garula has said the trial is expected to take 6 to 10 weeks.